It's been quite pleased about to come in. It's
Victor told me that there was I think the Indian Christian guy was calling Muhammad the B word.
Yes.
So they didn't like that, obviously.
No.
So that caused a bit of trouble.
At him and thingy bob. But because that guy, he's always defended Christians.
Right.
I went in there and stood up with him.
Yeah.
Not on the thing of what he said, but on the thing of free speech.
Yes.
The principle of the free
Yes,
speech I
indeed.
was attacking.
Yes.
Because whatever he was saying, he
Wasn't breaking the law.
wasn't breaking law, and it's the principle of free speech. You don't like it and things. So they're trying to dictate about the sense of the free speech. In no way. I've been kind of speaking to corner. I think that principle of certainty. I know you don't want to use it to offend, but there is a principle here of free speech.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Shut down.
That's it. We don't believe in offending people, but they should acknowledge if they're offended, right? They say they're offended, fair enough. And that's an error by us if we offend them. Unnecessarily, I mean. Because they're extremely sensitive, so you can't help but offend them. But I mean, we can't help, we cannot avoid unnecessarily offending the Muslims, but they have a duty to accept the rights to speak in this way. It's not an Islamic country, and if it's not, if the vast majority of countries in the world are not Islamic, then they don't have to follow Islamic law, and Muhammad may mean nothing to them. So to require them to respect something in which they don't believe is a bit much.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a shame if you like actually say a Pakistani Christian, and the law says, certain things you can't say. Well, you have to live by the law.
Absolutely.
And it's wise to do so, even if you want to rebel against that law.
Exactly,
But certainly
with these two guys over here.
Yes, Bob
and
and
I think what happened, you can see the stall there.
Yes.
Something happened beforehand, and I'm not 100% sure. But then Bob got on the gentleman's stall, and then one of the other guys, one of the Muslim guys, pushed him off it and was pushing him, and then it got a little, people trying to separate it out.
Why on earth did Bob get on the man's stool?
I think it was because he pushed him or something like that.
All right.
But this is a point he probably shouldn't have gone on the
Yeah. Well, in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and then I saw, and then there was a police on a bike, and he was talking to a Muslim guy.
Yeah.
And the Muslim guy was being really, really aggressive with him. So
the policeman?
Yeah.
That's not fair for them.
And I was like, what? And the policeman, in about 5 minutes, he didn't lose it, but you could tell he got annoyed, got off his bike, escorted the guy out of the park.
I think, though, this is a cultural issue here. There's always been this native respect between police and public in a homogeneous England.
Yeah.
But with people who are not native to the nation, there's not the same cultural attitude.
Yeah.
And so we don't, it's not like, I don't know, you maybe young to remember Dixon of Dock Green, that kind of way of policing and the public's attitudes of the policing is different because it's a different public now.
Yeah.
It's South Asian, Caribbean, whatever, and it's a different attitude.
I think also it's an age thing as well, because I think a lot of the younger generation, there's not as much respect for the police anymore.
Yeah, and that's even true amongst the native English.
Yeah, that's what.
Because there's been a whole set of generations which have been raised in a very unchristian atmosphere. Never mind Catholic, not even Anglican.
Yeah.
And that's been going on since I was born, and it's worked its way through, and here we are.
It's like if you go to somewhere like Spain, I remember I'm half Spanish and I used to go to Spain, and the police that were always in the green, the Guardia Civil, you're always worried about them. Oh, there they are. Oh, you're almost quite worried about them, and there's still a little bit of that in Spain, but here,
People got to
feel like
lots
they
of
don't care as much.
things, like a community policing. They look sort of half police, and they haven't got that sort of authority, and that authority just sort of going down.
And it's a hard
people
time
laugh at them now. Police, you think.
And of course, but they go on the Gay Pride March. They have their police cars covered in rainbow stuff, and then they're bowing the knee to Black Lives Matter, and they're full of all this woke ideology.
I know.
There's you know, there's always going to be a blowback from that. Who would respect that kind of organisation?
Exactly. And the thing is, it's not easy to be a policeman now because everything is literally scrutinised.
It is.
You know, because of the few police that are actually quite bad. And we know there are some police that abuse their positions, right? Like in all organisations, some people with authority abuse their positions, right? But then it's had an impact on all police, and now everything's like scrutinised so much.
It's gone that way.
Yeah.
Police don't have the less power. The criminals get more.
They're too scared to do anything, just in case it's being filmed. I'm going to get in trouble. You know, it's not easy.
We need our prayers.
Even one of my friends that I went to school with, he's a policeman, and I haven't seen him for years. But last time I saw him, he was saying to me he's been at like riots and they've had the riot gear, but he wasn't allowed to put his helmet on even though they were throwing bottles because they didn't want to look too aggressive. You know, so you couldn't put it on yet, and they were like,
that's the sort of culture.
But I saw
believe that sort of thing.
But I saw that was the way it was with the Black Lives Matter riots in Whitehall in 2020. They had soft hats, but when there was a group of working class white English people, they apparently defend the statue of Churchill, which was at threat of being pulled down like the Colston was in Bristol. The coppers had the full gear and they went in hard. So, and they went in, I remember those women at the vigil for Sarah Everard, who was killed by that rogue policeman. They went in quite tough with them as well, those English women. So they will go in tough in certain circumstances and not in others. And again, people will know that. But if you've got like, if you had a guy who's of South Asian origin here, who was giving it that to the copper, he's kind of thinking, oh, he's got other Muslims around him in the vicinity, and he's speaking against the anti-Muslim force, which is represented in the British state. So it's all kind of a mess we can't get out of. We can't get out of it. We got the police force is a mess in all kinds of ways. In fact, Peter Hitchens wrote a book about how our police service force is calling it a service now. It's another a sign of the times. But the police force has been going downhill since the 1960s when reforms began then. And these were kind of under the radar reforms. We've seen all this stuff with the pride flag and the bending the knee to BLM and all this kind of nonsense. But actually stuff under the radar, much longer period that's been going on. So we got real problem. I mean, this country's flushing itself down the toilet.
It feels that way.
It really is.
It definitely feels
It really
that way.
is.